Hi, this is Dee with Brown Girls Invest Too. We've just reached the end of the month of May, and I'm going to do what I do each month, which is cover the dividends that I received in the previous month. Now, I am not going to spend a ton of time on the dividends, only because I want to answer two questions that I received from a few people over the last few weeks. These two companies have the same event happening this coming week. So I want to get the answer out to them now, so maybe it gives them a little more information about what they should or what they may want to consider doing. So let me get to the dividends now. Pardon me 1 second.
12 seconds later.
For the month of May, I got paid by 6 different companies, one of which is General Mills. I got paid $62.77 from them. AbbVie, the healthcare company, I was paid $572.25. From Procter & Gamble, yay PG, they paid me $482.55. Stag Industrial, which is the REIT company, paid me $40.94. Apple paid me, it's funny, I only got paid 4 days, but anyway, 6 times throughout the month. Apple paid me $162.77. And the new fund, I think I've been in this fund for maybe 2 or 3 months now. Wisdom Tree U.S. Quality Dividend Growth Fund paid me $10.50. Now, I am sorry to rush through that, but again, I want to cover some questions that I was asked because there's an event coming up this week that I want people, if they haven't already pulled the trigger on this, to be prepared for. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to get out of this screen.
12 seconds later.
Okay, so switching over to the questions that were asked of me. The questions were about 2 companies, NVIDIA and Chipotle, but it was the same question, right? Should they invest in the company now or after the stock splits? Okay, we're speaking about the company NVIDIA. It is ticker symbol NVDA. It is a semiconductor company that it basically sells chips, right? Those are the chips within your computers, your cell phones, cars, self-driving cars as well. It is in solar cells. Anything electronic is run with a semiconductor within it. NVIDIA holds the larger share of that industry, and it will hold about 95% of the artificial intelligence industry that is coming very fast. So what happened is NVIDIA announced their stock split. They're going to do a 10-for-1 stock split. NVIDIA currently is trading at about $1,100. So what it means is nothing happens to the valuation of the company. They just issue the stock in a different way. So instead of having 1 share worth $1,100, they're going to issue 10 shares. If they're doing it at the price that it is currently, it'll be 10 shares at about $111. Okay, so again, nothing happens with the value of the company. It's just issued a different way. The reason companies will do splits are because after their stock runs up so much, they want retail investors to be able to get into the stock. And say a person couldn't afford a $1,100 stock, but they can afford a $110 stock. That's the reason. Now, it's not such an important thing these days because you can now buy fractional shares, but it's just a thing that the companies still do. Recently, there have been stock splits on Amazon and on Google. At one point in time, those were $3,000 and $2,000 stocks. So that's why companies split their stock. Now, let me tell you a little bit about NVIDIA. I think it is a fabulous company. I actually own it. And I think it would be a great company for anyone to own. I just think that this is probably not the best time to buy it. Now, not the best time to buy it right before the split or directly after the split. And here's the reason why. Investors like me or just anyone could buy a stock, say they bought the thing at $800, right? After they announced the split, they bought it at about $800 and the stock has run up to $1,100. Well, that is a $300 difference. And if I've got a $300 increase on 1 share and I've got a bunch of shares, I'm selling it to get my profit, right? Which means a lot of people will do that. And so what typically happens for a company that splits its stock is you'll see the stock run up after the announcement, and then once it's gotten to a high or they think, or the person that purchased it thinks they have enough profit in it, those people sell their shares, and then there's a little bit of a downturn. Now, it's not going to crash or anything like that, but you will see a little bit of a pullback. There is no stock that's going to run straight up. Stocks run in a stair-step method, right? They run up, pull back, run up, pull back, but it's generally a direction up, okay? So, because of this, I don't want people feeling like they're missing out. Fear of missing out, FOMO. I don't want you buying at the top. You should never buy any stock at the top. And NVIDIA and Chipotle are both at their all-time high. You don't want to buy here, and then after those people sell off, that stock makes a turn and starts coming down. Now you're in the negative. So give it a little chance to cool off before deciding to buy the stock, if you buy it at all. There is a good chance that if you own a ETF or index fund or a technology fund, there's a real good chance you already own NVIDIA. NVIDIA is only one of 3 companies that are a $3 trillion company. $3 trillion company, okay? The companies that are that have that valuation are, who's first? Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, okay? So you may already own it. Check your funds and see if those, see if NVIDIA is owned by that fund. If you own a total market fund, I already know that NVIDIA is in that fund. All right. All right. Now, let's go a little further about NVIDIA. In their industry, they don't have a lot of competition. They own about 95% of the market capitalization of that industry, okay? Their recent earnings report that they announced 2 weeks ago, they beat on the top and bottom line numbers. So for revenue, they had a year-over-year gain of 262%. For earnings per share, they had an almost $700 year-over-year gain. That doesn't happen with a lot of companies. Part of the reason they were able to do that is from their data center revenue that went up just a ridiculous amount, okay? Some of the things they have announced, and by the way, some of their chips, if you look at your computer or your laptop, you may see Intel inside, Intel, right? Their tagline used to be Intel inside, and NVIDIA, which is the graphics processing unit that's in there. A GPU is what they're making most of their money on these days. Their graphics cards are superior to most others. Their competition are going to be AMD, Qualcomm, and Intel, right? Intel's got its butt kicked though. NVIDIA, their run has really been with the H100, then they went to the H200, now they're on the Blackwell 200. Announced they're going to have the infrastructure set up for Ethernet. That's an entirely new market for them that they're going to probably be able to dominate. So that's another reason you would want to own this stock. They also announced, I just mentioned the dividends, right? In my other companies, right? So we talked about dividends earlier. NVIDIA is a technology company that just so happens to pay a dividend. They increased their dividend by 150%. That's a raise without doing anything. That's one other reason to go ahead and own that company. Not just yet though, but own the company. So I mentioned they have 95% of the market share of their industry, and their next competitor with the chip that it comes even close to what they're able to do is AMD. Jensen Huang's cousin is the CEO for AMD, so that family has a lot going for itself. All of these things just give you reasons why it is a great company to own. You just want to be careful about when you buy the shares, okay? As for CMG, or Chipotle, I am not so keen on owning CMG. CMG is a company that is trading at about $3,200 right now. Once the split happens, it'll be at about $600. Chipotle, I think, over the years has really done a little bit of price gouging. The company, to me, is rice. It's a well-run company, but it's a well-run company selling rice and beans and chicken. I don't think it should, the prices they charge shouldn't be as high as they've been, and I think the consumers will at some point recognize that, and I don't think their stock will run as hot as it has. There's a lot of competitors in the food industry. There's not going to be a lot of competitors in the semiconductor industry. So I hope that I've been clear about what I'm saying. I hope you understand. I hope you learned something. And I hope I've answered your question. You guys have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video.